Hello. This video is going to talk about the ERAS application and what are the components. So I can't record the process for you because I've already been through it, but this is the kind of PDF handout you're going to get once you've entered in all the information, but it's still a good resource to see, and I think I can give you some tips to help you out. So initially you're going to just put in general information, your IDs, your name, all these things, USMLE ID or MBOME IDs for your examinations, your addresses, military obligations, etc. You also need to dig up your ACLS and PALS and BLS certifications and figure out when they expire to enter into the database, and then ever like malpractice suits and things like this as well. Whether or not you've been through the match process will go under state medical licensing and things like that if you already are practicing in another country or that type of nature, okay? Then you're going to start putting in your medical education, and that's very straightforward of just your institution, your medical school, dates that you attended and the type of degree that you earned. Then you're going to want to be celebrating yourself by giving examples of your medical school honors and awards. And I included things like honors in general surgery. You can also put stuff in related to volunteer hours. Did you get a special award, or are you a member of a certain volunteer society that you can put here to just brag a little about yourself, because this is where you do it on your ERAS application, right? Then you can go ahead and put in things like membership in honorary and professional societies. Are you a member of the American College of Physicians? Showing that you're dedicated to your craft and your specialty is important here. And then you want to type in your education. So did you have a graduate degree? Did you get a master's or PhD elsewhere? Where did you do your undergraduate? You do the attended dates, the degree, and the field of study. Very straightforward thus far. Then you'll do the current and prior training. If you have previously done a internship somewhere at another program or transitional year and all that good stuff, you'll put it in the above category there. Experiences is going to take the longest portion of you typing and entering in all of this data, and this is basically where you talk about your work experiences, your research experiences, scholarly experiences, your volunteer experiences. You have to go one by one, type out the experience. What was the organization? Where was it in the US or elsewhere in another country, for example? What was your position specifically? How many average hours of week or effort did you put in, the dates that you did all of this, and the supervisor, right? Because we want to correlate, like, okay, if this person did research, you need to put the PI because that's super important, right? And then you want to type out and craft out a nice description. Always use numbers, things like I helped volunteer at a blood pressure or wellness clinic, and I saw about 1,000 patients over the time frame of a month or something like this every Tuesday and Thursday night from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Quantify. That way it gives validation to your experience and shows really how dedicated you were to that experience. Another example may be if you're doing a research study, your study participants. That's important to put how many people were involved in your study, right? So you want to put a good amount of volunteerism, work experience, research, scholarly things in this section, and hopefully it'll balance out. You want to try to have an average amount of each, but that's okay if you have more volunteer than research or more research than volunteer. This is just to highlight your strengths and show who you are. This next section is all about publications, and actually when I entered into the ERAS application, I actually didn't have any publications. All of mine were in process of publication. So there is another section where you can actually type in your paper and the journal and the page numbers and all those things and all of that good stuff. And that's a portion of the publications. But here for me, you'll see that there's peer reviewed journal articles, abstracts other than published, and that's where I put all of my in process of publication papers that had been submitted to journals, but I hadn't heard back yet on editing. And then you'll also put oral presentations in this section as well. So this is another one that could take a little bit of time, digging up your research papers and figuring out, citing it appropriately, putting the page numbers and all that stuff. But this portion shouldn't be too difficult if you're staying up on your resume and CV and updating every month or so, or when you complete volunteer or research projects. So this section's pretty straightforward as well. And the last but not least section, you're going to enter in your languages that you can speak and how fluent you are, how proficient you are. That's another nice way to tell a little bit about someone. Hobbies and interests is always fun. I left the soccer one in there, as you all know. You're entering your hometown or towns and other awards and accomplishments. Now, this is kind of tricky, but I would advise you to be thoughtful in this, and you do want to put something here. And so, if you were a previous Olympian or, something that can tell your story, I would put it in the other awards. For me, I had a lot of soccer stuff, so I put that there. But be thoughtful here, and it's another way to tell you, not as a number, but as a person and as an applicant and a physician or a future physician. So that's pretty much it for this video. If you have any questions or you're like, hey, I'm stuck, I need help with this, I'm happy to help you all. Just reach out, email me or leave a message, or I'm happy to help. I hope this is helpful, and I'll see y'all next video.